si Malu. Ma'am Malu. Malu
Thank you.
Tikia.
Thank you,
You are
Mr. Chairman.
recognized, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and your honors. Thank you for your invitation for me to, quote, share your knowledge and experience with social media with the end in view of promoting accountability, authenticity, and digital well-being. I am Malu Tikia. I'm an op-ed columnist of Manila Times for 12 years now and a political consultant for 30 years. I spent my young productive years in the Senate in 1987 to 1989 and in the House of Representatives from 1992 to 1999. I am appearing before you today to honor that institutional tradition. How do I use social media channels? I use it as a platform for commentaries, advocacies, and as alternative classroom to discuss hot-button issues, explaining and making sense of issues to the public. I am not a blogger or a vlogger. I have a personal meta page. I do not have a social media company. I have not been involved with any narco and pogo groups. I am not pro-China. I am pro-Philippines. Having said that, allow me to state for the record that despite not being in a public office, I too am fair game. I have been bashed, bullied, accused of so many things, but when it comes to factual matters, malicious attacks, I choose my legal rights. One, against a lawyer who claimed that I was part of the Marcos Jr. campaign in 2022, and because of my survey results, I got a penthouse in BGC and drives around in a Range Rover. Both were lies. The case is pending. Then a private group in Meta chose to put out in public a photo of so-called DDS Coral with me on the center with a pig snout. Mind you, there were more than 12 persons there, some of whom I do not personally know. I am not DDS, nor am I part of the so-called DDS Coral. When they chose to bring it out of a private group and shared it publicly, it was done maliciously. So again, I filed a case. There was a time also in 2022 when the survey results of my company were maliciously altered. I called the media organization and a person in another political camp, requesting them to correct the matter or else I will avail of my legal rights. Both corrected, the latter even made a public apology. Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, the Constitution begins on page 1 with 3 words, "We the people." And Article 3, Section 4 refers to the Bill of Rights, specifically freedom of speech, freedom of expression or of the press, and freedom of assembly are the bedrocks of democracy. But in politics, as you very well know, truth have various shades. For so long as there is no malice, we should err on the side of freedoms than contain them. Your Honors, contrarian views are protected by such rights. Prior restraint is anathema to democracy. My thoughts in this hearing, number one, please be fair. And I say that because are you inviting critics, bloggers, creators, joiners, collectors, spectators, inactives? Because the 3-second rule really controls social media. These are the different classifications when you refer to social media. If Congress wants to deal with false narratives, all sides must be present. Number 2, be careful of reported social media strategists who offer politicians, candidates, a plan on increasing followers. Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, followers are not voters. And the staggering costs are so scandalous and borders on being scams. You are being scammed if you follow the dictate of the more followers, the better for campaign. There were reports too where some influencers became guns for hire during campaigns. Number 3, Congress, and I am being, a lot of people are asking me not to say this, but I am sticking my head out here. Congress should ban the use of troll armies. Troll farms represent a significant challenge in the digital age, blending cyber warfare with psychological manipulation. Addressing them requires technological innovation, regulatory frameworks, and public awareness to safeguard democratic discourse. I am happy to note that these committees started with the pioneering work of Dr. Jonathan Ong and Dr. Jason Cabañez, entitled Architects of Network Disinformation. Number 4, near January 20, 2025, the inaugural of the US President, Meta ended fact-checking and replaced it with community notes, which X was an early adopter of. This is an evolving matter that we need to consistently be aware of, as well as AI and deepfakes. Congress should study what has been done in various countries that have implemented measures to ban or regulate the use of troll farms and coordinated inauthentic behavior, especially during campaigns and elections. I am referring to some 11 countries here for you to consider. As far as EU is concerned, they came up with the Digital Services Act and the Code of Practice on Disinformation. The US has Honest Ads Act. Germany has the Network Enforcement Act. France bans false information spread close to elections and mandates ad transparency. Brazil has fake news law that criminalizes the creating of fake accounts to spread election falsehoods. Taiwan recently criminalized foreign interference, including disinformation campaigns, with a fact-checking initiative to counteract troll army activity. Canada has Elections Modernization Act that prohibits foreign interference and mandates ad transparency. Australia has Electoral Integrity Bill criminalizing foreign interference and requires ad disclosure. The UK has an online safety law that holds platforms accountable for harmful content, including election disinformation. South Korea criminalizes spreading false information during campaigns. And Singapore, which was mentioned a while ago, allows government correction and removal of falsehoods. The 3-second rule is the controlling law in social media. And because of that, legislation has to be circumscribed and made quickly, so that for the 2025 elections, we remove the disinformation effect of the troll farms. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and your honors.
Mr. Chair, just a clarification if
Go ahead, Congressman Art Barbers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to address this clarification to Ms. Malu Tikia. Malu, para lang sa kaalaman ng marami, ang objective o layunin kasi nitong committee hearing na ito ay magpasa ng mga batas, no? Gaya ng nabanggit mo sa ibang bansa na kung saan ay merong mga batas, no, to protect, no, yung the people from online scams and others, no, and other illegal activities that is being done in the cyberspace. Dito sa atin sa ngayon, Malu, no, marami kasing mga vloggers, habang tayo ay naghihiring ngayon, ang komentaryo ay sinasabi nila na we do not respect that committee hearing kasi yung hearing na yan suppression ng aming freedom of speech or freedom of expression. Hindi kami naniniwala na ang layunin niyan ay para gumawa ng batas. Since you are here, I'd like to get a categorical opinion from you na ikaw ba ay naniniwala na tama lang na tayo gumawa ng batas para magkaroon ng disiplina, magkaroon ng regulatory framework ang ating bansa sa paggamit ng social media?
Sir, to directly respond to Congressman Barbers, yes.
Okay.
For the simple reason that the decency of the space has been crossed so much. So yes.
There are statements that are being issued that are slanderous or libelous, correct? And you agree with me, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so marami kasing ganyan eh. Maaring hindi nila aaminin o hindi sila informed, no, kung ano na yung kanilang limitasyon sa paggamit ng social media. Kasi yun na nga ang sinabi ko kanina, no, when you open your social media account, sometimes makikita mo may nagmumura. 'Di ba? May nagmumura. May name calling, they resort to name calling. They call politicians, they call people by other names. Na insulto nga minsan di ba? Meron naman dyan nananawagan ng kaguluhan sa bansa. And these are the things that we want to check. Yan po, kaya yung mga nanonood doon ng mga vloggers na walang ginawa, kundi magmura, they've crossed the line of decency doon papunta sa criminal act of being libelous or slanderous. So, yun ang gusto nating linawin. And I'm glad that Professor Maluti-Kia is here to agree with this committee's objective in coming up with this legislation, remedial laws or legislation that can be used by the country, and of course, people will benefit. Tama?
Sir, ako lang, kasi ang legislators, you live in a glass house. So part and parcel of your public life are attacks being made.
And that's normal.
That's normal. But there is also such a thing as contrarian view. Kung papatulan yung opinion yun eh. Ngayon, kung factual, kaya
I'm only referring to fake news peddling.
Yeah.
Yung opinion, they can share, they can express their opinion 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. And no one will stop them from doing that. That's their right.
Yes.
And we know that and we respect that right.
Thank you for that.
Diba? Pero, kapag you've crossed the line, created a story, created a news that is fake, and you peddled it, diba? Teka muna, may pananagutan tayo sa batas. And you know that, diba?
Yes, sir.
So, that's very clear. We will not debate and argue about opinions.
Yes.
Because your opinion is I respect, and my opinion you should also respect.
Yes.
Diba? Ganun din po, this goes the same to all social media actors or bloggers, so to speak, no? Kasi, syempre, kayo nandyan sa industry yan, you control the narrative eh. Kasi kayo nandyan dyan, trabaho nyo siguro yan. Perhaps you even make money out of that, no? Especially to those who actually can monetize, no? Yung kanilang, ano ba, namo-monetize?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
That's why I said I am not a blogger or a vlogger, because I do not earn from it. My meta page is my personal page. And to a certain degree, you really have to be responsible for what you say or what you do. Yun lang, sir, siguro sa legislation, really you have to look for a definition on fake news. What is fake news is really something that has to be defined.
I absolutely agree with you, and that is why we're consulting and getting opinions from the experts, no? Yung ating members of the academe, like you're a practitioner, and the government agencies, para makagawa po tayo ng batas. Yun lamang po ang ating layunin. So yung mga nagtatago sa likod ng usapin na ito ay curtailment ng freedom of expression o freedom of speech, sila po yung talagang namamayagpag sa pagkalat ng fake news dito sa ating bansa.
Mr. Chairman, the fact that I was I agreed to appear and honor your invitation, and I was given the chance to say what I want to say. I don't think that is curtailment of my right to expression.
And you're a perfect example and manifestation that indeed there was no curtailment of freedom of expression and speech in this committee hearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat, Malu. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, Congresswoman, first, I think in the minimum, we need a code of ethics. Whether you agree with what is in the code of ethics, at least it prescribes a certain behavior for those who would go on a social media page. Second, I think I would suggest to the legislators and the politicians here, Facebook, which is #1 in the Philippines, can actually provide free pulse of the public. You just have to understand the principle of the crowd, the principle of herds. And when you listen, when you post something and you ask reaction from the public, that is free and unfiltered. It is how you receive those comments that may not be to your liking. A focus group discussion would probably cost 500,000. Posting a line or two on a proposal, a bill, and seeking the pulse of the public is free. So, I guess, what am I saying? It can work both ways. For so long as the virality and the engagement is organic, I don't think we need to restrict expression. But in the minimum, let's have a code of ethics. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you po.
Ma'am,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
pwede po magdagdag?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Would you want to answer the
Yes, sir.
question?
Anybody, Mr. Chair?
You're raising your hand, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sige, go ahead.
Bakit dumami? Because it is free. It's personalized. You hide behind the veneer of some lock their profile. So bakit dumami? It's the in thing, mabilis. Again, I go back to the 3 seconds rule. Hindi mo siya mahagilap. Pangatlo, dahil personalized, Filipinos are very personal. They're very private. But because of Facebook, you are able to immediately say something, post something, and if it virals or is shared, then to a certain degree na-discover mo yung kagandahan ng technology. It's just that, syempre meron ring side na ina-abuse. So sir, libre yun. Imagine you talking to your loved ones, free. TikTok created a different animal. But TikTok is very segmented. You want to talk with the youth, go TikTok. But you cannot carry, your messaging has to adjust to their level. You cannot be doing TikTok and talk about freedom or rights. You have to contextualize that. So, makikita nyo ho, ibang-iba. And the other thing that, it's not only Facebook, even IG, Filipinos are very visual. So, you take a picture na napaka-ordinaryo, they will not share. But you add color, you add culture, it becomes shareable. So these days, our world is becoming so small that you can actually send so many things and it becomes viral. So
Is it also possible, Mr. Chair, that they can get more information, they can share more information through social media than they can get from the mainstream media?
pwede yun, sir. May replacement factor kasi ang mainstream media takes a while to print. But ito, at the moment, you get to push what is happening. And
That sometimes they do not trust mainstream media for information.
meron study, sir, na ganyan.
Yes, because, Mr. Chair, Ako po, biktima ko po na biktima rin ako ng dalawang broad seat na yan eh. Yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo kanina when we started.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Go ahead, Malu.
doon sa tanong ni Congresswoman Roman, I think it is very important to have the platforms here because they operate a business in our country. So that is one way of getting them here and telling them that you need to put into consideration a regulatory framework. Kasi kung hindi ho natin sila kasama, and they will remain indifferent to the reforms that we are thinking, hindi rin ho maiisa katuparan ang dapat na pagbabago na magkaroon. So, yes, Madam Roman, it is important to have them here and to compare. Actually, yung algorithm kasi, they define that eh. So, an algorithm is business-defined, business-led. So if the Philippines is a number one market of Facebook, necessarily they will have to protect their eggs here. So it is very important to consider that. YouTube is gaining ground, I understand, and a lot of Filipinos are shifting just because of the monetization that is happening. So monetization would mean fast income, di ba? So you really need to have them here so that they understand what kind of regulatory and they can come up with suggestions on country specific regulations that have been adopted elsewhere. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Dating Prime Minister ng UK, Winston Churchill, na ang sabi niya, some people's idea of free speech is that they are free to say what they like. But if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. Totoo po yun sa nangyayari sa atin ngayon, no? Gusto ko lang pong tanungin ang ating mga inimbitahan ng mga vlogger dito at media practitioner, ano? Siguro ang unang pwedeng sumagot nito ay si Miss Malu. I just would like to know the real definition of fake news. Sa inyo, ano po? At ito ba ay buong Pilipinas na ba to? O dito lang sa Metro Manila? Please.
Mr. Chairman, Congressman Abante, fake news can either be misinformation or disinformation. Misinformation is walang malicious intent. Nagkamali, for example, ang birthday ni Jose Rizal ay February. That's misinformation. Pero yung disinformation, pag sinabi mo na ang birthday ni Jose Rizal ay nung November 30, meron ka ng malis doon kasi alam mo birthday yun ni Andres Bonifacio. Malinformation on the other hand is manipulative propaganda. And there's such a thing as in propaganda, there is good propaganda and there is manipulative. You want to achieve an end goal which the facts do not bear you out. So, ang fake news ho para sa akin ay alam mo yung katotohanan, factual, pero iniiba mo yung istorya. Iniiba mo yung, there's such a thing, sir, nasa messaging sa communication frame. Iniiba mo yung impormasyon to suit your end. So, that is, to me, fake news. Kung sinabi ko, sir, na si Congressman Abante ay taga Manila, that's fact. Pero pag sinabi kong si Congressman Abante ay taga Manila pero tumitira sa Quezon City, the facts do not bear you out. So that can be seen as manipulative if I say Hindi actually botante yan eh. That is fake news. But it started with facts. Nakatira si Congressman Abante sa Manila. Tapos ang sumunod, hindi naman sa Quezon City yan nakatira. So hindi botante. Ergo, hindi kandidato.
Do you call that misinformation or disinformation?
Sir, that is already disinformation as far as I'm concerned. The misinformation is, hindi naman dyan sa Quezon City. Wala kang facts. Diba? So how do you rebut that? By showing that you are a resident of Manila. Marami kasi sir nangyayari dahil dyan sa fake news, yung reputational sa online, lahat siguro ng mga politiko na aapektuhan yan. Kasi meron kayong reputation that to a certain degree is ito yung ginagamit mo for re-election. So pag nasira ka online, which means reputational, napakahirap bumangon. So pag sunod-sunod yung sinasabi, it forms a certain conclusion in the mind of the receiver of the information. Hence, I would say, si Congressman Abante, talagang ang gulo niyan, hindi mo maintindihan kung saan. That is a conclusion arising from fake news.
Is this now true all over the country or only in Metro Manila, for
Sir,
example?
media centers.
Mr.
I would
Chair?
say in media centers because like in Manila, Cebu, Davao, at pwede ho ninyo sir na i-geofence ang location kung saan pumutok yung balitang yon, and you can see the relationship of the role of media centers, the high density of users, and the connectivity in the place.
How does that affect, for example, a politician na tinitira sa face ng fake news?
Sir, alam nyo, pag tinira kayo, ang kailangan authentic ang inyong reply. Ang problema ho sa ibang politiko, it takes time for them to react, and by that time, it becomes now the truth. Kunyari, may lumabas na issue ngayon, some politicians would say, I do not want to react kasi pag nag-react ako, lalo kong pinahahaba, pinalalaki yung fake news. Pero kung hindi ho kayo magre-react, that in itself becomes now the narrative, the controlling narrative, which is very, very hard to respond to, especially going into campaign.
So, even if it's fake news, the politician must react.
Yes, sir. As far as I'm concerned, kasi you would want to write what is being said about you online. If you don't, it becomes a crisis for you. It becomes a reputational issue. And that is your currency when you run for public office. Sa political consulting ko, ang tawag doon, that's your brand. So if your brand is destroyed, it's going to be very, very hard for you to increase your trust. Natatandaan po ninyo ito, sir. May awareness, may tiwala. Awareness, pwede kayong universal. Ang tiwala, napakahirap i-earn. Ngayon, pag nakikita, ginawa yung issue sa inyo, sa distrito nyo, uuga ho yung tiwala. At alam naman po ninyo, ang tiwala in a 45-day campaign period, mahirap pong ma-rebuild. It will take time for that
Pero
tiwala.
ang paniwala ng iba, Ms. Malu, when you react, you become defensive. Kanina, nabanggit mo na you have to be offensive on this, di ba?
Sir, kasi sa akin, the best defense is offense. And when you just say, when you be your authentic self, you're opening yourself, ito ako hindi totoo yan. So kung hindi nyo sasabihin hindi totoo yan, ang mga constituents nyo will always say, oh, tinan mo, nagnakaw yan. Oh, tinan mo, yumaman yan. Very hard to control. Especially during a very heated 45-day campaign period. Wala na ho kayong chance to clear that out. So bago pa mag 45-day campaign period, sinagot nyo na. And then you can reshare that. Then you can, push it and make it viral.
So, Mr. Chair, kailangan sa online din, kailangan gumamit.
Yes, sir.
Kailangan gumamit ka din ng vlogger.
Yes, sir. Hindi, sir. Pwedeng
Hindi.
ikaw na sa sarili mong page.
Ganon.
Oo, kasi yun yung authentic self mo eh. Kung pag ginamit mo sa mainstream media, it becomes fodder for news. Lalaki yung issue. 'Di ba? Pero kung sa page mo lang sinagot mo yan, hindi totoo yan.
Oo.
Ito ang aking pag-aari, ito ang aking paniniwala.
So, it is not enough, for example, like sa SOCMED, fake news. Hindi naman kinukuha ng mainstream media yan. So, it's not enough na hindi ito kinukuha ng mainstream media sapagkat hindi naman totoo yan, di ba?
Yes, sir. Kasi forever nandyan yan. May footprint nung negative reaction sa'yo. So you really have to, kung minsan nga, katulad doon nung exchanges kanina, yung pala 3 years ago pa yung video, so it remains there. And if you don't respond, then it becomes truth. Kaya nga ho, kanina ang sabi ko, in politics, there are shades of truth.
Thank you. That's quite a revelation to us.
Ang problem doon na Congressman na Abante.